Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I would like to begin by taking the opportunity to also personally welcome you all to the Fed and Heathlands Village for this Alpha Fed's graduation ceremony. A special thanks to my very talented colleague, Tammy Friedlander, for her incredible work in organising the course. You've developed something unique that will benefit not just our graduates, but the wider Manchester Jewish community, and we are excited to see what we can achieve in the years to come. Thank you also to our group's parents, who have supported and encouraged our graduates to take part in the programme. You recognise the value of your children being part of Alpha Feds, and I hope you've seen the benefit of that decision. But the biggest thanks must go to our very special graduating cohort. Ellie, Sophia, Casey, Raphi, Shayna, Amaya, Ruby, Talia, Annie, Ethan, Yaakov, Gabrielle, Poppy, Lola and Millie. I've been hugely inspired by what I just heard you say about the different sessions that you went through. You took the decision to give up your time to be part of Alpha Feds, so you could not only learn more about those in our Manchester Jewish community who are less fortunate and need our support, but also to volunteer and help those very same people. The late Chief Rabbi, Lord Jonathan Sachs, Zichrono Livracha, wrote that volunteering is an expression of shared responsibility for common good. It is personal engagement in pursuit of an ideal. It is active citizenship of the highest order, and it softens the contours of fate. He went on to say that a society in which there are high levels of voluntary activity will simply be a better, happier place than one where there are not. Ask any volunteer, and they will usually tell you that they gain more than they give. They don't do it for recognition. They do it because they know volunteering helps change the world because it changes us. Jews know this in their bones. Our community could not exist for one day without its volunteers. They are the lifeblood of our organisations, and whether they involve welfare, youth, education, care of the sick and elderly, or even protection against violence and abuse, it's a tradition which goes back 26 centuries to the Babylonian exile, when, for the first time after achieving statehood, Jews found themselves without a land or a home of their own. They were without rights or power. They knew that if they were to maintain a communal infrastructure, they would have to do it for themselves. So began a tradition of voluntary collective responsibility that sustained Jews through centuries of exile and dispersion, during which, always and everywhere, they were a minority, usually vulnerable, and often desperately poor. For over 150 years, the Fed has been the golden thread running through our community that looks after our fellow Jews who are most in need and vulnerable. It has been the organisation that has sustained our community. You are now part of that very rich and proud history and tradition. But whilst we remember the past, the Fed as an organisation is very much about the future, both in terms of our own role as the leading Jewish social care charity, which supports more Jewish people in our community than anyone else, and in playing a vital part in ensuring our community flourishes and grows. You are an important part of that future. Community, identity and connection has always been hugely important to the Jewish people, and never more so than in recent times after the horrendous events of October the 7th. You have shown you understand this, and the Alpha Fed programme has been the vehicle through which you have expressed it. Our Manchester Jewish community is lucky to have you. I would like to finish with another piece of wisdom from Rabbi Sachs. He said, "Just know that some little seed of greatness exists in all of us, and it does not necessarily have to be greatness in the eyes of the world. Sometimes one single act of kindness can redeem a life. Sometimes a single smile can rescue a person from loneliness and despair. You never know what the consequences of your next act may be, but people never forget a good or kind or encouraging word or deed. That greatness is there for each of us, and all we have to do is have the courage to respond and let it express itself in a way that only we can do, and that's true for every single one of us." I am sure this graduation is not the end of your involvement with the Fed and those we support in our Manchester Jewish community, but is in fact the start. You have the power to change lives as proud young British Jews, and we are excited to accompany you on that journey. Thank you, and Mazel Tov once again.